about First Street, and this is about Bank Street. And our biggest problem we have down there is our parking, all right? As you all know, not up here, but the zoning board approved this project some years ago, months ago. It was approved, so the project is gonna go forth. What I wanna address tonight is our parking issues for those three streets and what we could do to help minimize the impact that's gonna have on the merchants and also on the construction site. We all know there's a lot of things that's gonna go on in the next 18 months, and so we had a meeting prior to this one with the chief of police and the first selectman, with Negani people, and it was a very good meeting, because our number one concern from our standpoint, from these guys, was to make sure the impact of the merchants was kept to a minimum. We're not here to hurt anybody's businesses, we're here to move it along, because the building's gonna go up. Now, we're gonna talk about the parking. As we all know, parking is a huge, huge problem down here. And for the merchants, it creates a havoc. And our hearts go out to you, but unfortunately, we just don't have the land mass to create parking spots for everything that we do down here. So with that was said, this project was gonna take off. So the beginning people came over to us, they gave us outlines. The chief, the first selectman, and the deputy chief here, they went over every aspect of this project. And they allow him to do certain things, and we're gonna get to all that in a minute. What they can do and what they can't do. When streets are gonna be closed and when they're not gonna be closed. So we're gonna try to minimize the disruption you guys are gonna see downtown. Now, most of the time, businesses on Mondays are closed out here, most of them. So we're gonna allow him to do most of his deliveries on Mondays and Tuesdays. Mondays, pretty much, we're gonna allow him, I believe, Chief, right through most of the day, because the downtown is pretty much quiet for that process. But on Tuesdays, 7 to 9, we're gonna allow him to bring his deliveries in to keep the impact of the big trucks coming in, dropping off all this product to build this building. As far as the parking is concerned, when he gets ready to erect up the steel, the road is going to be closed. There'll be no through traffic. We're not going to have anybody get injured with the cranes and moving the steel, but we are going to have it all fenced off. So the businesses from, I believe, the general store chief, that outlet right there, back out to Columbus, out to Bank Street, is going to be open, the sidewalk. He's going to have extra duty officers there to make sure that people are not affected by that destruction of all that equipment going on over there. And same thing across the street. We will have a sidewalk available, they can get in and out, and we'll have officers there to make sure that it's secure. The 2-hour parking is going to be in effect downtown Seymour, Connecticut. Pat was supposed to be here tonight. I'm assuming he's going to come. He's going to enforce the 2-hour parking. That is going to be enforced, and that means Mr. Gandy had promised us that when the construction guys come in, they're going to drop off their equipment in over here at this project, and then they would take their vehicles and put them at the lower parking lot, which is down by Zoe's. So they would not be blocking up our streets with their equipment while your business are running. So that's why we got this meeting here tonight, and I know that you guys got some concerns, so that's why you're all here. But before we even get going, the project is going to move forward. There's nothing we're going to say here tonight that's going to change the project. We just want to minimize the amount of time that your businesses get disrupted on those 3 streets. So if you have businesses on those streets, I want to hear from you, and I want to hear what you got to say to help. And me and Roy are going to try to get all these things resolved tonight. So I'm going to open up the floor to those that have businesses right on those streets. I don't want to hear from you from outside that, because it's not going to affect them. Yes. Right.
We're right behind the general store, and you said
I'm not saying they're not, I'm saying the ones that are going to be directly affected are on Columbus, they're on Bank Street, and they're on First, directly, because that's where all the equipment is coming from. Main Street, you're still going to have to be able to park across the street, they're going to still have parking in front, so you're not as much, you're going to get affected to somewhat. We're going to try to minimize it all though. So we're trying to keep the days where all this big equipment comes in. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm only one.
Okay.
My biggest concern is,
Also, what I would like to do, if you have a question, if you wouldn't mind speaking into the mic, we can pass it around, just so that it picks up on the recording. All right.
It is being recorded, sir. Yes.
Okay, so I'm Hillary Boris,
Yes?
and I own Tickle Pink. My biggest concern is that a lot of the people that live in the building that's senior housing now are handicapped, and I was told that they're not going to be allowed to park all day on the street, but they got a letter saying that they can park on the street, and they won't be ticketed every 2 hours. You know, that they can just, so if they all park on the street, then there's no parking. So
And
I
we
need
just
to know where
verified
those
that
people are
today,
gonna park.
with the chief and the deputy chief. We went through that, and that's exactly what the law says. The law says if you have a handicap sticker valid, you are going to be able to park on Seymour's, a legal spot in Seymour downtown, and you will not be ticketed for that length of time. So,
So how many people living in that have handicap parking?
that, I don't have an answer on, that. I mean,
Well, because the problem is that if he's blocking that side street from parking, okay? And then the second part of Bank Street is all the lawyers park there every day.
okay.
They just move their cars or they eat the ticket. So now there's already a handicapped woman that parks on the street. So there's about maybe 10 spots all day. So if 8 to 10 people from that building park in those spots, then there's zero parking, literally zero.
And we went over this, and I said to the chief, I go, we're gonna have to go over there, we're gonna have to work together for this period of time.
But what-
I can't invent more spots there. I would want to, but right now I can't. So the best I can do to help minimize the problems that we're gonna have in the downtown area is to literally talk to these people and get them to park in the Durant parking lot or over by the fish. I understand, I get it, but I don't wanna disrupt the businesses either. I'm not
Right.
here to say we're gonna close all our businesses down and that's gonna be it.
Right,
I
'cause-
have to come up with a solution.
But I mean, I understand it has to be a solution, but I was told until today, from every time I called someone, you know, because I was so concerned, that those people wouldn't be parking on the street, but they are. So yeah, no, I understand that. So I'm not saying that you live there. I'm not asking you not to, right. So, and then the other problem is they're handicapped. If they come down there and there's no spot for them, then
Yeah.
what do they do?
Okay, could you hold on one second, young lady? I'm gonna come around the room here. Yes, sir.
3 to 4, attorney down, representative down. 3 to 4 becomes
Okay.
all of them, including them, were given paid parking passes, park in
The Strand lot there, or the municipal lot?
both lots, either one. And in fact, in the front of the building, taking the left and going right up to the parking lot, and the railroad station. They can use either one of those lots, they have a paid lot. We think at this point, there's like 3 to 4 that would be doing that. Whether or not they would use the advantage of parking in the street, we don't know.
See, I'm gonna be honest with you, Pat was supposed to come tonight, and I was supposed to get the information from Pat as far as how many truly handicapped cars are literally parked in and along that area there. And every time I've come down there, I've never seen any, to be honest with you, I haven't seen any, so my argument is gonna be, I have to ask Pat. Right, they're right now, they're in the lot.
When they start that construction, they're going.
Yes, young lady. You wanna grab the mic?
So my answer is
Oh.
there is no answer?
Well, the answer to right now is that the best I can say, the law says this: if you go and get a handicap sticker from your doctor and he signs off and it's legit placard, and you put it in your car window, not only in the town of Seymour, but you can go on any legal parking spot in this state and you can park there all day long, and it's not gonna cost you anything. And that is the actual law that's written.
So
You're asking me if the car in Seymour, if they go and they get the handicap parking tickets and they put them on the cars, they've not breaking the law.
So I understand that everybody's saying there's nothing to do with this project, but I just want you all to know if that happens, Seymour will not have a downtown because we'll all be gone. There's no question. If there's not one parking spot, if people aren't going to come back. If they come and there's nowhere to park, they will never come back, and we're going to close. And the people up in Seymour are going to be sad. That's the bottom line, because they all love it.
And
And there's nothing
I understand. I understand. I can only go by what the law actually says. Yes, young lady, you're.
As I said earlier, I'm from Guitar Fixer Bob, and we're right in the Strand Theater building. You saying that we're not really going to be affected, then you say they're going to be parking in the Strand lot. Well, that affects us because that's where our customers park. And what happens to these seniors who park in the Strand lot but park in the part that's owned by the Knights of Columbus? That's not public parking. Are they going to be towed? Who's going to pay their fines for being towed? Because that's going to, again, take away from our customer spots, the Knights of Columbus
Now,
spots.
where's your parking lot? The Strand? Is it the Strand?
Yeah, the Strand Theater. And I also have concerns. You said it's going to be closed on Tuesday, or they're going to be delivering Tuesdays 7 to 9. Is that AM or PM? The extra duty officers you're talking about, who's paying for that?
That would be McGandy's firm.
Okay, his firm is paying. Okay, but as as Hillary said, it comes down to parking.
Right.
If people can't park on these streets, they're not going to shop. We're competing with Guitar Center, Amity Music, and Sam Ash, all within a 15-minute drive. So this is it's not a solution.
No, it's not a solution. And I was talking with Rory, and I talked with our administration. My job tonight was to tell you how we're going to handle the construction phases of the new complex that's going in. That's all I can do. I can tell you what we're going to do for the next 16 months when he's building his building. I can do that by law. Everything else that you're all talking about right now would truly have been done through a civil matter. Because it's not breaking, nobody's breaking the law here.
But you're saying we all have to work together?
I'm
Well,
trying to
it
minimize
seems
the
like we're
problem.
not going to be, why should we work with you guys? Because we're all going to end up with businesses that end up closing. So you're expecting us to work with Mr. McGanny, where's he's working with us how? And after the building is built, then the problems just continue because we've got more people who need more parking. And is he putting in, it's going to be senior housing, I assume. So a lot of those folks are going to have handicap stickers. So they're going to be parking all over the downtown.
I mean, 7 people have cars, the resident of 7 people have stickers. The proposal for this building has 15 ground floor spaces.
So is that going to be handicapped parking down there?
It's going to be resident.
Yeah, use the microphone.
It's going to be resident parking.
Use the microphone.
There are 7 individuals who are residential residents of 16 Bank Street who received paid parking passes, who will spread it out. The new building, for those that attended P&Z, they're well aware that the first floor of the new building, the ground floor, is a parking area, underground parking, well, not underground, but level parking under the other floors of the building, and I believe there are 15 spaces in there. So those people with handicap stickers would most likely be designated. Obviously, we can't comment on a lot of that till we see what the tenants are. Okay, just wanted to give the numbers for perspective.
So
And by the way, just so everybody understands, this is from a downtown Derby business that has been dealing for 18 months with the DOT screwing up our bridge, and it's going to deal for 24 months with the DOT widening Main Street. And all of the businesses down there have the same issues, but we deal with them.
yes, young lady.
Good evening. My name is Kim Dolka, and I'm the owner of the All American Valley General Store in downtown Seymour, and also Red Clover Day Spa and Apothecary. Both of our businesses are located on Columbus Street, and our adjacent parking lot is where this building is going to be built. Joe Magani is our landlord. We have had numerous conversations with Joe Magani and with Pia about this project, and we were told several different things about what type of building was going to be put there. When we were concerned about senior housing coming to downtown Seymour, we were concerned that this would not stimulate our economy. We were told that these buildings were going to be active 55 and older seniors that were coming. They were going to be coming, bringing life, economy, and commerce to the downtown merchants. When we were concerned about this and asked, well, what about parking? If you're 55 and older and maybe there's 2 people that live in each unit with 2 cars, what are we going to do then? The coin was then flipped, and he then told us that it's actually going to be senior housing, a lot of handicapped. He based his statistics on parking to get approval, on statistics of people over 70 years old, when he was saying it's the lowest impact on parking. So I would like Mr. Magani to answer what exactly is going into this building, what type of senior housing. That's my first just statement.
Let me just answer that one there. And as I spoke earlier when I first got up, I said tonight's issues, and I mean just tonight. There's another forum that can take place. It is not this forum. We're here strictly with the deputy chief and the first selectman to advise you on the 18-month project. You're going to ask me about scenarios that I can't answer as to why, how come, or where it happened. I don't know who was involved. I don't know who passed it, and that's already been on a whole nother board. I'm here to tell you guys we're going to have a project that's going to last 18 months. I don't have the rights or the authority to say to anybody, you cannot change what's happening. But what I'm here for is to make sure that I can work with you guys to let you know. This is what the meeting was all about in the very, very beginning, and I heard rumors that it was going to change. For me, it hasn't changed. It's going to be a half hour to 45-minute meeting about how I'm going to stand by you guys. If he's done something wrong that he did not agree to, then it'll be my job to make sure I speak to their firm and say we need to get this thing resolved. If there's a problem on your side and I come over and look at it, it has to do with parking issues, I am so glad to help you guys out, and I want to help you guys out. But if you're going to ask me tonight to change something that has been already done, I don't have the authority.
I'm not asking anybody
No, but
to I'm sorry, to change anything. I just think it has a different impact. Is this active 55 and older senior, or is this in fact seniors that are coming in that have a lot of disabilities? Currently, there are 9 cars upstairs in the senior housing complex. That's 75% of the people upstairs have cars. So with the new building, there's going to be 38 units. So if you use that same statistic, that is equaling 28.5 spaces in downtown Seymour additionally that we are going to need for these new seniors. So where are they going to park? We were also told that 15 spaces were going to be allotted for the parking lot. 2 were going to be allotted for Joe Magani and for his son Aiden Magani. So that is leaving us with 13 parking spaces. So like you said when you mentioned, there was already a huge parking issue in downtown. What do we do with these additional people that are coming in? What do we do with them? Also, we have seniors here that are who live upstairs from us. They were told that they were able to park downtown if they had a handicap sticker. Most of the seniors who live upstairs who do have cars or who will be bringing cars are applying with their doctors as we speak to obtain handicap permits. It is beyond my comprehension how seniors can even be asked to park in municipal lots. The fishing bypass ladder, the Trestle Tavern, and also the Strand Theater. Most of the seniors upstairs are on oxygen, or they have broken backs. They're in walkers. They have been in wheelchairs. They've had hip replacements. I do not understand how it is even feasible to ask that. So what do? As compassionate merchants, we say, okay, let's open up our streets and let them tie up all of the handicap spaces. I mean, I feel like that's something we have to do at merchants, but then what do we do? Like Hillary said, do we go out of business? I do not foresee our business surviving. We have 2 businesses. I do not see the other downtown businesses surviving. There's also a lot of home health care aides that come with handicap stickers that take care of people upstairs who cannot drive. Where do they park? What about ambulances? How do they get in there? There's a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and we're just looking for answers.
trusted friend, Pat, who you all know. Hold 1 second, right? Pat, right now, we have a problem with the handicap placards on cars parking in downtown that's
Right now?
right now.
No, we do not.
Well, the question you're asking me is what we're gonna do with the seniors that have the additional, parking problems we're gonna have in 18 months. And as I stated earlier in this meeting, I wish I could have the answers for you, and I don't. I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you I have the answers. I don't have the answers. I have the answers, what we're gonna do, what the chief has authorized us to do for 18 months, as far as not to disrupt the businesses, because taking on a big building it's a huge project, and there's a lot of people gonna be involved. So the chief, the McGanny people, the first selectman, deputy chief, they sat down, they went over a list that we had gotten earlier on, and the chief said yes or no to what was in this particular piece of pamphlet here. And so my job tonight is to tell you guys that I can help you out for the 18 months. I don't have an answer to any one of your problems with the parking from once this building gets going. I know me and Pat have talked about it. We just don't know what the impact is gonna be. We don't. I mean, right now, the impact, how much impact do we have now, Pat, from the parking as far as the apartments we have there now, the 15 senior housing?
Not a problem. We don't have.
Well, how many cars do you see that, from that?
From the existing building?
Yes, from the existing building.
13 vehicles.
And they're usually parked in the Strand parking lot? Or are they parked in the, adjacent to the general store?
No.
Or are they on the streets?
No, 13 vehicles currently are parking in the spaces opposite the general store being here to
Okay.
the left. Okay, sometimes those folks do park out on the street. If they have handicap stickers, there's not an issue.
So that's the best I can tell you right now. If you're asking me if I can help resolve that, I cannot. I cannot change the law. I can't add anything to it or take anything away from it. If somebody has a car that has a handicap placard in it and they park in downtown Seymour, Connecticut, they can park in Derby, Connecticut, they can park in Shelton, they can park in Beacon Falls. There's nothing, the police department, and that's where I'm coming from, that we could do about it. So, yes, do we have a massive problem down there? We do. I would love to have a 20-story parking garage in downtown Seymour, but I can't have that happen. So, but as far as the project for the next 18 months, I am here to help you guys. If you have problems, if construction companies are parking in front of your businesses, I'm gonna be there to make sure that that doesn't happen. I'm gonna make sure that they don't park their trucks on Columbus Street or on Bank Street or on First Street. I'm gonna make sure that they're dropping their equipment off. They're gonna be parking their trucks over by the Fish Ladder, or they're gonna be down by Zoe's Pizza. That's my promise to you guys. That's the best I can offer tonight. And I get that you guys are upset with the fact that we are gonna have this problem after 18 months. I don't have an answer for you. Yes, young lady.
Okay, just looking at the next 18 months, and you asked him about existing parking today, which that ship has sailed. I don't know why that's even a question to ask, Pat.
Well,
Here's my request. Do something to help us businesses. Then, if we can't put the kibosh on the building, it's going up. Construction starts Monday. What is the town going to do to help us by telling our customers? I mean, we're going to be telling our customers on Facebook and on our websites that, hey, we've got some parking issues. Here's where you can park. What's the town going to be doing? Can you put some advertising out there telling people, hey, we're doing this, here's some options, maybe some signage?
That's something that I can get with Rory. Could Rory talk about that?
The Economic Development Commission is working right now to get parking signage. That's already underway.
What's that? It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen, okay? If you park on the street and you don't have a handicap sticker, okay, you're subject to 2 hours. I'm very flexible downtown. I'm extremely flexible because I've had requests from the hair salons. They come out and they'll tell me, that car right there, that's my customer's, please don't ticket her. And I don't, okay? I'm very sympathetic to the handicap. I've probably issued a half a dozen violations for people parking in the handicap spots in the downtown business district, which encompasses Wakely Street all the way to Main. Okay, people coming in, if they're coming in from out of town, they're subject to the 2-hour rule just like anyone else. Okay, merchants we have a lot for the merchants. That lot is by the fish bypass, right over here. It's the gravel lot. That's not restricted, okay? Merchants are allowed to park in there. You will never get a violation in there, okay? If you park on the paved lot where the bypass and the electrical charging units are, okay, that is subject to the 5A through 10A, Monday through Friday. Not on weekends, not on holidays.
Now, I just want to expand on what Pat just said. So the chief sat down with the McGanny group, and he went over what he thought was the best thing for the entire downtown merchants. And he said, the slowest day we have is on a Monday. We don't have a problem with him bringing in his supplies and having his trucks down there, dropping off these supplies down there, because we're not going to impact downtown as bad on a Monday compared to a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. So the chief and Mr. McGanny came up with deputy chief here and first selectman that Mondays, between the hours of 7 and 3, he can get his product. He's going to have to road the officers down there for private duty to make sure that there's no dangers to the town. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, the chief said 7 to 9 a.m. Massive, any delivery is coming in between the hours of 7 a.m. and 9 a.m., which I thought was extending it, because we're now trying to tell a company, well, we're only going to let you do this here. So the chief, the deputy chief, and the first selectman said, hey, well, we got to do something. This is what we're planning on. Mr. McGanny agreed that would be fine, that the construction people coming in, dropping their stuff off, the chief doesn't mind if the guy's got to come in, he's got a truck, and he's going to be there 10, 15 minutes, he's going to drop off his stuff. He doesn't have a problem with that. But anything after that, he's going to have to hire an off-duty officer to make sure that street stays safe. We also talked about he's going to put a fence up on Columbus Street. From the curb line out, it's going to be 9 feet is what they agreed upon, 9 feet. The town is going to take care of the road during the winter months. Mr. McGanny assured us that as soon as the snow falls, he will have that fence area cleared up, right? So there will be no impeding of traffic or people in that area. So that will be all taken care of. So from the standpoint from this department and First Selectman's office and Pat, we think we've tried to cover every area that we could help you out right now within the 18 months.
As far as the construction workers, it is my understanding, okay, will not be parking on any of the streets in the business district, okay? The construction workers are going to be diverted once they drop off their tools, okay, because some of them have large utility trucks and they do need to drop off equipment. Once they drop off their equipment, they are going to be diverted to the Trussell parking lot. Right now, out of all 3 municipal lots, that is probably the most underutilized lot. Reason being, obviously, because there is no business at the Trussell Tavern, okay? So between the chief and the deputy chief and Officer Harkins and Mr. McGanny and his group, okay, the construction workers will be parking down at the Trussell lot.
Steve, you had a question, Steve.
Yeah, I do. I actually have several questions. Just so everyone knows, my name's Steve Kulas. I have a business on 12 Bank Street, and for those of you who don't know, I'm one of the lawyers that parks off the street. We have a lot, and I encourage all my clients to stay off the street to help with the flow. I can even remember when that Bank Street was a two-way street and there was a lot less parking. But I have a couple questions. One, to the extent that there's available parking for merchants on the gravel area, will anything be done to, over by this parking lot, anything be done to encourage visitors to town to use if there's additional available space?
Yes.
There'll be a funneling, so at least they can park over there and walk through, I used to call it the First National, but,
A little cut through there.
yeah, cut through there behind the auto zone.
Maybe we can get the town to put up signs.
We have that back up.
There will be two signs, Steve,
Okay.
over there.
Secondly, Bank of America, according to some of my clients, has become very aggressive on monitoring people using their parking lot. And I respect the fact that it is their parking lot and their private property, but I can't imagine that all those spaces are just for Bank of America employees or customers during the course of the day. Has anyone in the community reached out to Bank of America to see some of their space? Because I've had clients tell me the security has approached them, telling them they will be towed if they're not going to use Bank of America. So has anyone tried to liaison with Bank of America to try to utilize
Tuesday
that
morning, I'm
parking
heading
lot?
over there, Steve, to talk with them to see if we can get them to utilize some of them spots there.
Okay.
Just like I'm gonna go over and speak to the owner of the plaza by Jason O'Hare Town Hall. Because he's very aggressive with their towing, and we're gonna see if they will, ease up and allow during the day, as far as letting, maybe the merchants park there so they can leave the streets, or, just to see if we can get some extra spaces. So that is also on my list, to speak with them and have a meeting with them.
And finally, my last question, on the days that there are no deliveries, which are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and
And Sunday.
Sunday, will there be any available parking on Columbus Street?
Yeah, we're not gonna take away those spots. Those spots, those spots are gonna stay there. I mean, we're not gonna rope them off. We're gonna make sure that they stay open, all right? And even on the days that when we close that road down, when the SPD closes it down, I just talked to the chief at, just about an hour ago, we're talking about the sidewalks, so, because there's still businesses there, and we're not in the business to ruin businesses. We're there to make sure we can at least get them out and get people to still come to the businesses. So we're gonna put we're gonna ask the McGanny Company to put up the orange fences, so you guys are secured within that sidewalk area. When they get ready to do the steel, though, we're gonna have it roped straight across. We don't want anybody walking in downtown when the steel goes up with the cranes there. So there's gonna be a part of Columbus Street that you will not even get to, because we're not gonna allow it, because we don't want something tragic to happen to any of our people downtown. Yes. Right behind you, Rory.
I don't have a business here. I happen to live above the parking lot, and I am handicapped.
Okay.
So if I'm parking my car there with my handicap sticker, and the snow comes and they have to remove the snow, where are we to go? What are we to do?
You're talking about the Strand parking lot.
No, I'm talking about in front of the general store.
She's talking on
Columbus,
Street.
because I'm one of the people that have a handicap and I can park on the road, which I'm so glad about. But once snow comes, how are they going to plow? What do we do then? We're old. We have.
I'm gonna have the first selectman just answer
For
that
something
question.
like that, we would do a code red to alert people at specific times. The cars need to be moved and they come in.
Where are we going to? How we are
We'll do
people with handicap, though.
We'll do one section at a time to move it around. We generally do that at night. But during this process, we might have to do that during the day.
Are you going to dig us out? I mean, who's going to dig us out? You guys put snow plows down the road to get construction. Well, that's good.
I mean, who digs, out of curiosity, who digs your car out now? When it snows out there? No, but who digs it out, though? Okay, so that would be the same process. I mean, I don't want to say it in a derogatory, but that would be the same process. But we're still going to have DPW come down. They're going to still get the streets. But I understand that what you're saying, man. But I understand. But somebody had a, right now somebody's digging your car out, right? So when a plow goes by, who digs your car out? Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I we're gonna be in a learning process, because I'm gonna see for the very first time when that happens. I would assume that, you know, even my own cars, I dig them out when they're on the side of the street. I dig them out. I wish I could call the town to come and get it. I get what you're saying. But you're, you know, where do they park their cars now, though, is the question I'm trying to find out. Where do they park their cars? Right now, in the parking lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so when DPW comes in, and they usually, the Strand, our parking lots are usually one of the last things they actually plow, correct? They usually get the roads first?
They're currently parking in the lot where they're.
Oh, okay, oh, I didn't know, the Deputy Chief, this is,
Their concern now is they're gonna park on the street if they're able to.
Yeah.
Now what happens?
Talking 3 vehicles. There's only 3 spaces there.
okay. The town will send out a code red for the downtown area. Just like when you go to Bridgeport or New Haven, Hartford, East Hartford, they send out a code red and they say, starting at this hour, there will be no parking on the streets, none. And so they don't tell you where to go park in the big cities, and I'm not saying that we're gonna say it to you. We're gonna try to get you guys, and I'm sure they're gonna think about this before the red code goes out, but they're gonna think about where you're gonna park. But there's gonna be a code red, and they're gonna say to you, no cars are allowed on the street after a certain hour. They do this in the big cities. And in the big cities, they don't even care where you park. They just tell you, don't be there.
I think overnight they're gonna have to park in the street.
Overnight?
I think that's gonna have to be the solution, but they're gonna need the street clear.
Right.
Okay. So,
Again-
one more on this here, the deputy chief just informed me that
I think we would have to put them in the strand lot
in the Strand lot, we're gonna have to put them in the Strand lot
for the overnight.
for the overnight, so the roads can get plowed and cleared. But I understand about being a handicap. I understand about being handicapped, and I understand that people have massive problems and they can't walk. I mean, I'm gonna ask you now, if that has to happen, have a family member drop you off in front of your facility and then park your car. I mean, I understand you don't like my answers, but you're gonna see, I can't make up an answer for you, and I'm gonna do the best I can to make sure that you guys get the best, excuse me?
And by the way, the Strand lot again is not totally town owned. The Lake Columbus owns a portion of that lot. And they also have a church street there on Sunday that takes up a lot of space. And so there may not be parking available for the seniors to move to if they can then walk back from this parking lot around the corner, around Tony's, to get back to the home. And that corner right away is a little dangerous on the best.
There's not even a sidewalk that goes from the municipal lot at the Strand parking lot to Columbus Street where the seniors would be able to safely get into their house. It actually, there's traffic that merges right up against it. There is no sidewalk. So there are only 3 spaces on Columbus Street as well. So there's 3 spaces on Columbus Street. What do we do with the rest of these people? So to have somebody in a wheelchair, a motorized wheelchair, who already fell off of the curb in front of the general store, which is now a loading zone, which has taken away 3 spots of parking. How would a wheelchair, in your opinion, and this is just being reasonable, how could you foresee, if it's snowing, a wheelchair, motorized wheelchair, and her companion has a walker, how would you see them at the Strand being able to make it from the Strand safely to Columbus Street? And if they are injured, if they fall, if they're parking at the fishing ladder because there aren't spots in the Strand Theater, and if these people are falling, who is responsible for that? Is the town responsible for that? Is Joe Magani responsible for that because he is telling people he has to park there? I mean, really, what is your solution?
That's a great question. It really is a great question. I'm going to have to sit down after this meeting, and I know the chief's been writing them all down over here. We're going to have to literally go over all these particular questions to see how we're going to handle each and every one of these questions. Again, I just want to explain that project is going forward. It has nothing to do with the police department or the first selectman's office or Pat. We are going to be here to try to work out a whole lot of problems that are gonna come our way. We're gonna do the best we absolutely can to make sure that we can address every single problem. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys right now, we're not gonna be able to address every single problem. We're just not going to. We're gonna have to kind of flub through this. And it's not an answer that you guys are looking for, but it's the best one we're gonna be able to come up with right now at this minute. Yes, young lady.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Perkins, and I actually live in Bridgeport, but I'm a customer of the general store.
Okay, well.
So I have a couple questions. Where are the customers going to park when all the residents above the general store, we're all going out and making sure they have handicap stickers, are taking up the spaces? How far away are we going to park? I can tell you right now, I don't know where to park 2 blocks down because, you know, I'm not a resident. So that's a question. And then the other thing is Bridgeport actually has alternate side of the street parking. So during a snowstorm, they have people move to one side, and then the next day,
In some areas, not all areas in Bridgeport.
main thoroughfares, there would be no parking
They're all-
allowed, like
they
in
will
Gillette
actually send out
Street.
a call saying that on this hour, we're gonna have all cars moved off the street, and they don't tell you where to go park them, they just tell you don't park them here. We're gonna at least try to help you guys out, and, you know, especially the merchants and the people who live downtown, where to put their cars. All right.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of
Okay.
parking spots that are being displaced by the current residents, that it's basically you're gonna put your customers a few blocks away. The other thing that someone mentioned, 2-hour limit parking. Now, I don't know if that's true in the evenings as well. That would have to be clarified.
It's just during the day.
Okay, because we do have a bunch of us who show up for 3.5, 4-hour
I
stretches.
don't think Pat's ever given a ticket out after,
No, the restriction, the restriction comes off as of 5 o'clock on Monday through Friday. And I don't want to get technical, but I will tell you this, that on Saturdays, if you park on the right side of Main Street where Jimmy's Place is or where Ozzy's is, that is restricted, okay, till 5 o'clock. However, if you park in any one of the 29 spaces, 23 of them being to the left of the train station, 6 being to the right with a handicap space, there's no restriction there on the weekend, being Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday. As far as the Strand lot, we were able to pick up an additional 6 parking spaces by removing the tree belt. Okay? I know it's not a lot, but I'll be real honest with you. I'll take 6 any day.
Okay.
yes, Gus.
I'm from Harula's Coffee Shop, Seymour. I'm there almost 28 years, and I see things get worse and worse. I tell somebody, you know, park in the back or something. I'm handicapped, I can park here all day, they say. But I says, you handicap over here, you walk, so park the car behind the fence. He says, okay, one day, next day, like you talk the walls. People can park, how many people work in the town, park on the other side of Fish Lara? Not too many, just park outside there or something, and they see pet comes in, they move the cars, and, you know.
You're talking about the merchants, Gus? The ones that.
Yeah, people work in the town, they
People that
park,
work within
yeah, the
the-
town and park there, and when see him come in, soon they comes in, they move the cars. He can do nothing anyway.
Well, I know Pat has,
And,
I know Pat has changed his philosophy. In other words, when he's out there doing the cars, you know, if somebody goes out and they moves the car up an inch, they're getting the ticket. Pat does not tolerate. His attitude is you're going to be there for 2 hours. Don't think you're coming out and moving your car up for an inch or 2 inches and saying my car's been moved, I get another 2 hours out of this. Which, believe it or not, and me and Pat had this discussion on numerous occasions, for the 20-plus years that I've been down there, and I know with the
I see
deputy
cars,
chief,
they do that.
we've all done that, and I can't tell you how many times the owners of the business would come out and they'd move their car up an inch. And they'd say, we moved our car, when in fact, we're doing our job.
How many cars, how many people have 3 parkings? They have, the other day, 3 cars, 5 parkings there. 3 cars, 5 parkings. And I went outside, say, go in your stupid restaurant inside, it's not your business. The guy who parked outside, that's what he tell me. That's,
Well, I think Pat.
you know what's there, I don't know. What,
I think Pat pretty much
I
does a
don't
very
know.
good job with control now, right?
I see cars a lot of times, 3, 4 cars, and 4 parkings, 3 cars and 4 parkings.
I do not work 40 hours a week at parking enforcement. I'm not going to tell you what my schedule is or what my hours are, but I don't work 40 hours a week. So I'm not there. There's going to be situations that are going to be out of your control, okay, and out of my control. And it's amazing that sometimes when I'm not working and I do come downtown and I see what's going on, okay? We've got people parking on crosswalks. We've got people parking on sidewalks. We've got people parking in the yellow restricted areas. Anything where you see yellow on the curbing, you can't park there. All the parking spaces are designated. Up until 2 years ago, the parking spaces on Main Street weren't even defined. It is through the help of the First Selectman's Office and the Public Works Director that we got the state transportation people down here from Thomaston, and they spotted all the spots for us. And then we went out and we got a subcontractor, and we had them stripe everything. 2 years ago, you didn't even have that. So we are trying to do a lot of things, okay? I also sit on the economic development. Was talk about the signing before. Okay, the first 2 signs will be going up. I don't know how soon, but they'll be placed over here by the Fish Ladder parking lot and one by the gravel lot. There'll be one for the Strand lot, there'll be one for the train station, and there'll be also one for the Trestle parking lot. They're beautiful signs. We spent a lot of money, they really look sharp, and they're going to stand out.
I think the 18 months project, they say, never got to be 18 months, got to be 24 months or 2.5 years. Okay, number one.
Well, you know, ma'am,
Okay, I just spoke first
hold
time.
on 1 second.
You got to take the thing.
Gus, I'm gonna move it over to this young lady in the back who had her arm up for the last 40 minutes.
Okay, one
So
second.
I want her to, I got yours
Just
and I want
came
to
in.
hear
Hold on
hers now.
1 second. I went and gave menus to the town, every town. Just, I don't come to your place, you complain about the parking, you call the cops for parking, for everything. All the town, a couple, they come in my place because they see my name 4 or 5 years, fight for the parking for everybody in the town, and I'm the idiot on the end.
Okay.
Because
Thank you, Gus. Thank you. Yes, young lady.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Paisano, and I very recently, within the last month, opened a business at the corner of First and Bank.
I can't hear you. Could you just, Mike?
I'm at First and Bank. I'm wondering, can we make this a positive approach and try to spur on some activity down in the downtown area? Maybe a trolley around that has a little shuttle for people to go from all these different lots, encourage people to come downtown, possibly get space from Stop and Shop, lease from Stop and Shop, and have a little shuttle going, or the AutoZone parking lot. It just seems like this is a perfect opportunity to work with the businesses downtown and try to.
That's why this meeting is taking
Yeah.
place tonight, because I
Well,
want
so far all we're hearing is
great
like,
suggestions as the chief is writing them all down here.
yeah, it seems very negative to me, the whole atmosphere. But
And I
what
get
about
it.
what about in front of the general store? I'm trying to picture how it's going to look. Is it going to be fenced off right beyond them?
Right beyond them, yes.
What about opening up all that as parking lot, right between the Red Clover and the general store, making that all parking on both sides of the street if it's going to be blocked off anyway?
Well, we talked to the chief about that, and it was a great suggestion. That is a two-way street. We're trying to leave it a two-way street. We're trying to, because believe it or not, I mean, you could sit there and watch the traffic come in from 67. If you have that blocked off, people sit there and they stop their car and they start itching their head and they're like, where do I go? How do I get around? So that
Well, they're going to be
create
trying to get
more of a
around
mass
this.
confusion. So the chief said, you know what? I went out the other day with Pat and we took a ruler out there and we measured out 9 feet and we're looking at the roadway. All right, with 9 feet, we still have two-way traffic that we can keep that street open. I don't know if that's something the chief would want to change his mind on it at some other point, because the chief is the guy that can make that decision along with the first selectman. It could be a possibility. I mean, we can get into this project and find out, you know what, that's a great suggestion. So tonight is about suggestions. It's about writing everything down and coming back and then having another, I'm gonna have a meeting once a month. I was gonna do it in the morning with Roy's, with the coffee and stuff, but
Yeah, I don't know.
Roy's like, no, we'll do it at nighttime.
I don't know if
But
there's
my plan
parking.
is in the morning, once a month.
If there's any parking available at the community center to lease, and what about something like a shuttle? Would the town help with something like that, at least for the 18 months to?
That would be in the first selectman's office, and
I know,
would
that's
assume I can't
costly,
answer
but
for these guys.
it might really help downtown.
You could potentially.
Thank you.
Yes, young lady.
I don't have a handicap.
Okay.
Does that mean that I gotta go move my car in 2 hours in my car?
Yes, ma'am.
Even though I got live for men, I live in the student house.
Well, you would park in the Strand parking lot, or, I mean, any of the parking lots that allow the stickers. You know, again, I'm only here to tell you that I can only go by what the law says. Yeah, the stickers are for the lots. Yes.
Yeah.
No, not the railroad station. The parking stickers are for the Strand lot, for the Wakely Street lot, and the Trestle, and they're only subject to regulation from 5A to 10A, Monday through Friday, which means that if you park in that lot after 10 o'clock in the morning, Monday through Friday, you're good as gold.
Okay. To answer some of the questions that were raised, the 15 spaces that are going to be built underneath the building are 15 spaces for the residents. There's no, it's a fantasy that the Maganis are going to be taking any of those spaces. The age restriction is exactly the same as the existing age restriction. It is age and income restriction. It is a declaration of, as a covenant that is required by the funding. It is 55 and over, but it is also income restricted. The average age in some of these projects is usually in the 65 to 75 range with respect to
You can't
people.
have people at 55 years old come.
You could have people, but they have to be, there's income restrictions.
Their income.
And they're exactly the same, the restrictions that exist now, to answer that question. With respect to the, and I was just asking my client that, because I was, at first I thought the person was saying that the person in the motorized wheelchair was driving, which I think would be of a concern, you know, potentially. But apparently that person has a spouse, and the spouse picks them up in front, but does have a car and stuff. As far as the construction window is actually 12 to 16 months. It is intended right now under the construction schedule that the building will be basically enclosed probably by the end of the summer, which would mean that the disruptions and deliveries would be substantially less once the building is enclosed. So while we can talk about 18 months, which is in the documents that we did.
I'm only going by the documents.
Exactly. And that's exactly what it says in the construction loan documents, is 18 months. But while it says that, I'm trying to explain what the actual schedule looks like. Does that mean there will be no deliveries, after that point? Of course not. There will be utility hookups and things of that nature, but they will be minimal in compared to the basic construction at the start. The main closure will take place when the structural, as you said, when the structural steel is being delivered and installed. And again, every effort would be made to reduce the time frame. I certainly can't sit here and speculate as to how fast it would go up. The contracts that the contractors and subcontractors are signing provide specifically in the contract, subject to penalty, that they must park in the Trestle Tavern lot. So it's not just in this thing, it's actually in the contract.
The chief has asked us to make sure that me and Pat, truly keep our eye on that.
Right.
And make sure that they're there and that they're going to be parking there. We don't want them to and you know, everybody says, well, they got their business, they got their trucks, and they got all their stuff in their trucks, they're not gonna wanna, we said that's not gonna be our problem. Our problem is gonna be that they're gonna have their ability to drop their equipment off, and then they're gonna go park in the far end lot.
Well, that's why it's in the contract, subject to penalty, so money talks, people will walk. Again, you've already covered the parts about the most Mondays, you know, the deliveries on Mondays with some on Tuesdays, and they will try to do the best they can to schedule those. Where there is road closures, there is the notices for the road closures, and
because I don't think that people understand that. There'll be absolutely no road closures without 48 hours notice.
Right.
And that'll be done through the McGanny's, through these individuals up here, and they will get a hold of you people, let you know when those road closures are actually going to be and how long they're going to be for. Nothing else will happen without that. There's no, we're going to close it 1 hour ahead and this is, we're done. It's 48 hours notice or it's not getting closed. So, just want to let you understand that.
I think I answered most of the reasonable questions.
Yes, young lady back there, she, here's what we said to them. Again, this construction site is a huge project with a lot of material. So we said this. The chief looked at what our business looked like during a week process. We said our slowest day in downtown, this is based on Pat, who's out there just about every day doing a great job, that Mondays is pretty quiet, all right? We're not gonna disrupt a whole lot of business down there if Pat brings in big trucks that are coming in to do their deliveries. And then we sat there and said, yes, there's gonna be other times you're gonna have deliveries. So the chief said, I don't have a problem, because downtown doesn't start running business till about 9 o'clock in the morning. So the chief said, I don't have a problem between the hours of 7 and 9. If they schedule the deliveries, all right, and this is them working with us, and they actually agreed with that we're gonna minimize all the, you know, the big trucks coming down there, that they'll get their deliveries in the morning. When the road gets closed, if they know they got big stuff coming down, they're gonna give us 48-hour notice that we're gonna have to close the road down for whatever the situation is gonna call for. When the steel goes up, when they bring the steel in, it's gonna be closed, I believe they told us in that meeting, a little over a week. Is that correct? Right. Right. Until the steel is up. We don't
Right.
want the crane there with, you know, people walking in. So they said that they would give us that time frame where the road will be closed. With that being said, we also discussed today that we're going to put fencing up, or they're gonna put up fencing to allow the sidewalks, because there's businesses there, and there's the apartment complex, they have to come out. We're not gonna let you get past a certain point in that process. You're not gonna go towards the building, we're gonna keep you guys away from it, but the sidewalks will be open, so the businesses can stay open, and we're not hampering them.
The answer to the question is they will make their best efforts, but they've already made promises to the chief, to Officer Harkins, to First Selectman, as to when they would do it. If there is an unusual circumstance that requires a delivery
Absolutely.
at another time, there will be no surprise with that. They will be required to sit down with the chief and explain what the circumstances are.
Yes, Young? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Henry Kornacki. Good Irish name, isn't it? But I want to tell you that I've been in World War II, 1943 to 46, and this coming June, I'll be 92 years old, and I'd like to invite you to the party I'm going to have. But you see, I think you've answered some of the parking situations, but you know what we've forgotten? The human aspect of it all. Try it yourself. Go to any one of these places that you say the cars can park and walk up to the general store or Columbus or a bank. And if it's under 15 minutes, I'll buy you a cup of coffee at the general store. 15 minutes for a man with bad knees, with a person that's over 65, indigent in many ways, struggling to get to the greatest venue in this state, and that's the general store. Now, that's a fact. And I'll tell you, I'm there as a friend, a very close friend, 30 years in this town. I'm a resident, and I'm in the advisory capacity there, trying to help him in the little bit of brain power that I might have left. And I want to tell you, some of the most wonderful people in this town and surrounding towns come to that general store. And it was 5 struggling years to get those people to come. And now what are we doing? We're farming them out. We're farming them out. This meeting is getting a little bit heated, and sometimes you gain things by getting heated, and sometimes you don't. But it was getting so heated that even our Kurt has walked out, and I never saw him so quiet in any meeting in all the time I've been to any of them. But at any rate...
Can I answer that question? I'll
Yes.
say why. And I asked the chief and the deputy chief, and I even asked Pat over here. This meeting was supposed to be just for, the First Street, Bank Street, and the
Right.
Columbus Street merchants to come down here. I was going to do it during the day just to say to them, okay, this is what we got going on.
Yeah, but it's also...
I'm not going to sit here and say I disagree or I do agree. I just
No.
have to make the
It's-
best of what I can do for you guys.
It's
now.
very good. You're doing a great job. And we're meeting some people here, sitting right there at that table that many of us have never met before, and they're a great group of people.
Thank you.
I admire you all, believe me. But I have a quick solution. There's always deals being made, aren't they not? Right? We're all deal makers in some way or another. Like it or not, I'm going to give you my thought,
Okay.
and you do what you want with it. There's a big big building that burned down over the other side of town. It's a nice, big, empty field. Why don't you swap that particular field and that area for this area where they're proposing to build the apartments? And then well, and maybe it's just a matter of monies, isn't it? Oh yeah.
It's not. It's actually a matter of the owner who owns that property over there.
Yeah, and it happens.
like the idea
And it
of-
happens to be the Seymour town of. Don't they own it?
No,
The Seymour doesn't own it.
no, that's owned by.
Well, let's get to that man. Wouldn't that be a great thing? That's a quick solution right off the bat. We don't lose any business. We've made a lot of happy people. We're going to get a lot more new people in. But I'll tell you, you know what? We've got to stick together because there are a lot of angry people, and I don't like that. You can't make a good deal when you're angry.
No, you can't.
We've
That's
got
why
to
I
do a
wanted
lot of
to say that I
thinking
can
here.
Tell them for the 18 months what we've had planned for them. This is not the easiest job I ever have doing.
Oh, I know you're doing a fine job.
But I don't want to mislead you guys. I wish I had all the answers to give to you. I don't.
I wish I had one answer. I wish I had one answer. On any kind of a meeting like this, there should be a very important beginning. And the beginning that I would like to see is, how did this thing ever come about where a man is going to build...
It's got nothing to do with these guys.
I know, but somebody's got to give us the answer. So now they say, well, it was a big deal. And it was in the newspaper. Oh, yeah? How many of us saw it in the newspaper? Not many. And it went on and on and on, and a lot of this stuff went on, and it's not a good thing.
And,
believe me.
today I heard all the different stories, and I was talking to Roy. I said, I understand that they're upset. I do. There's nothing I could do. I cannot change what was already done.
Right.
All I could do is sit here and take the suggestions from my. And there's some great. And the
But you
chief's
know
got some
what?
great suggestions over here.
But you know what? I understand, and I know the psyche. And you know what? I think Kurt Miller is going to get a solution to this. I really, truly do.
But I want to thank you guys, Roy. I think I pretty much summed up everything I had to say.
Yeah, well, so we only have until 7:30 is the problem. This was, again, it was supposed to be a small meeting, and we have another meeting scheduled for 7:30. So if there are any other questions, but real quick, I will run you through the process of how this was approved, because when I went around to speak to you, a lot of you asked me that, I didn't have the answer. This came before Planning and Zoning. They approved it. And a lot of people said, why did they approve it when there's no parking? It was approved by Planning and Zoning in 2012, I believe. October 2012, and the requisite zone changes were 2009. When a zone change is made, there's a public hearing. So public hearings were held about this in 2009. For the site plan, which was approved in 2012, there were no public hearings because there are not required to be public hearings for a site plan.
And I will explain, there were several, there wasn't one meeting,
No.
there were several meetings.
From January to October, almost every month.
And we presented an extreme.
They're public. They're filed. We.
There were applications on file. They don't hold meetings without, they do hold informal sessions. The sessions that we went through, there was an application on file. People are easily willing to go down, they can go down there and look at it. And I'll tell you what, if you really want to know what happened, I have the zoning file in my office. Take a trip down to 315 Main Street, Derby. I'll be glad to sit down with you and go over the zoning file. Because one of the things we did when the parking issue was raised is we pointed out, we did a 30-day study of parking in downtown. We took photographs and everything like that. And you can see in the minutes that one of the things we pointed out, that a lot of the spaces were being taken up by employees of the businesses. And we pointed that out this was before BP, before Pat. And we were talking about seriously the parking issues that went down. We presented it. The other issue is, and I'll tell you exactly what I said to the Planning and Zoning Commission. You want to develop the downtown. Downtowns that develop end off with two things at the beginning: traffic problems and parking problems. If you have them both, then your downtown is developing. What we pointed out is when you are analyzing parking in downtown, picture 2 or 3 of your stores in Main Street being taken over or wanting to be bought by a high-end restaurant that everybody in town likes. And then picture your Planning and Zoning Commission saying to them, I'm sorry, we don't want you in Seymour because you don't have off-street parking. We were providing 15 off-street spaces when most businesses that move into town can provide no off-street spaces. So I'll be glad. This isn't the meeting for it because it closes. But believe me, I'm very open. You come down, call my office. If I'm not busy, I'll spend an hour with you, sit down, and I'll go over the zoning record, and I will tell you what the truth is about the zoning.
They are all online, if you want. They're all on our website. January 18th, Monday.
The first notice went to the individuals who were tenants in November of 2014. November of... I was just telling you when the tenants were notified in November of 2014.
We held an initial meeting with Joe in June, I think. Yeah, June or July, to discuss what would be going on downtown. And then construction was pushed off, so we didn't have all of the details. When our last meeting was, and then January 7th. I mean, when we, that was when we had the information. Yeah. 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 We had 2 meetings. The first was in June. The second was in January.
This year.
Yes.
January. So you're okay with somebody coming in and constructing the downtown here doing their business and their property? I'm just asking you, why
Look.
are we just asking now about how people are gonna move around downtown? That's all I'm asking.
I mean, yeah, we can't plan for this. How do you plan for this? We have a finite amount of parking. There is nothing that we can do that's going to change that. It's only going to get worse in the winter.
When Route 8 gets backed up, we have traffic.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have all the answers. Okay, we don't.
When Brewery gets backed up downtown, it looks like it's a parking lot.
Look,
Oh, I know. It's been crazy.
I drive around your town now, I don't even go down there no more.
I mean, that's why we had this meeting.
4 days before the construction starts. That's why, but,
I'm-
you know,
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys, right? So we discussed, are you going to do the website for updates?
We said once a month that we'd
Well-
get together.
Hold on. Okay. Yeah. We went around over the summer at some point. We set up a code red list just with the downtown merchants. If anybody would like to get on that list, which will involve, okay. If you call our office, we can add you to the list. I mean, we have 48 hours of notice for any road closure. So we will give you as much notice as we can. If you guys are interested in doing once a month meetings during the project, we can certainly do that.
Yes.
Monday. Okay.
EDC tries to attract business, I think we should also think about retaining businesses. And if there's gonna be some serious economic hardship for everybody in the downtown, same way tax abatements or incentives are given to new businesses, I would urge the EDC to be exploring some kind of tax relief or financial incentives to retain the merchants in the downtown if it becomes to that point where they're starting to lose business. I know it's not for this meeting, but I know Mr. McCarty's on the EDC, you're involved in EDC, please take it back to your board. Please, there's a lot of people concerned about the financial situation. Consider that, please.
Good point.
That's very good point.
Is there a way that, because this project was approved in 2012, and most of you sitting up there and current members of different boards, some people aren't even with the town hall anymore. So this has been sitting stagnant since 2012, and then this in 2009, when most of the merchants weren't even in business yet. So this is really coming out of nowhere. In the town minutes, it also says that the Dormitory building is affiliated with Seymour Housing Authority. The way that it has been portrayed to the paper, that it is affiliated, and it's even stated by Joe Magani that Seymour Housing Authority is a 1% invested owner in this project. This portrays to the public that this is something that is supported by people know about it, it's approved, everybody's for it. The fact of the matter is, because it has been sitting stagnant for years without funding and is just looking at current funding, nobody knows about it. I feel that this needs to be reevaluated. We need an appeals process on this, and we need the townspeople to know exactly what is happening to their downtown. Not only do we have businesses, and not only are there seniors, this is a community, and we need to have a voice. Nobody knew what was going on. How can we do that, and can we do that?
I mean, an issue that we have, not just for this project, well, just with everything, we have trouble communicating with the residents, right? I mean, the notices for every meeting are published in papers. They are available on the town website. They are all there. I went today and I checked. Then they're available in the town clerk's office. My point is just, it's not, nobody's trying to pull a fast one on anybody. This was all public. So you say you weren't aware of it. How do we make you aware of it?
Well, the first meeting was in 2009,
Mm.
and the approval was in 2011. How do people, especially new businesses that have come into downtown, who have worked so hard to establish this as a merchant center, even know that this was approved in 2012? We received a letter about 45 days ago that cars needed to be vacated from the senior parking lot located on Columbus Street by this Sunday, and construction was starting on Monday. What type of notice is that? This is hitting people from all different angles, and there needs to be some type of an appeal process. We need to.
There is not. It's private property.
The notice went out in November of 2014. The Hopewell construction was starting in March of 2015, and if you didn't read the notice, I can't do anything about it.
There is no appeals process. If the town tried to stop this, we would be liable because the project has been approved. There is no appeals process. It's the Planning and Zoning Commission of 2012. I don't know the members off the top of my head.
They watch the people get out. They do. Look handicapped. They went up and asked them, are you the person to whom this is
I mean,
registered?
so
They did that.
I mean, we're gonna have to wrap up pretty shortly. So any merchants who are here, any residents in the area who want to be put on the code red list, you can contact my office. I'm the first selectman's office. My name is Rory. I'm Kurt's assistant. Burke.
I know. My father-in-law would say to me, my late
Yeah.
father,
Burke.
Comment.
Okay.
Use the stick.
We'll get you on the list.
It's coming.
We can have a follow-up meeting if you guys are interested in that. We can schedule it to
How are you,
get you
sir?
some
How
of the
you
answers
doing?
to these questions. If you have any other questions.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be able to straighten it out. I just figured I'd just.
They just have a what?
In other words,
Yeah.
if they're parked where there's a no
Got
parking
nothing to do with me,
zone,
though.
that's not legally permissible. If
They
they
dumped
park
it in your lap.
in the room, the spot,
Well,
You guys are good guys, you can handle it. We'll see you later.
yeah. Good seeing you again, dear
Okay.
friend. All right, take it easy.
Take care. 'Cause years ago, I was president of the Chamber of Commerce.
I know.